How to Build a Business in a Pandemic. Brought to you by the Business and Brews Show and Trek CBD. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. How to Build a Business During a Pandemic. My name is Ryan Smelt.
And I'm Nick Pione.
And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have the pleasure of introducing to you Pedro. Pedro, really quick, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, my name is Pedro Meneses, and I am the owner and the founder of the Marketing Brewing Company, which is pretty much a marketing company who helps breweries to build their social media marketing and lead generation, all that kind of stuff. And also I have a business with my wife, a real estate business. So that's pretty much what I get busy every single day with, like between marketing, real estate and drinking beer, of course, because like I always said, there's no better way to do a business but with a beer in hand, But I'm originally from Guatemala.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm originally from Guatemala, and I've been here in the States for 7 years, and I started my entrepreneur journey pretty much about 5 years ago. So yeah, that's pretty much in short who I am, man.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being here, Pedro. I really appreciate you being a part of our show.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, man. No, actually, it's an honor that you reach out and invited me to be part of your show, man. I hope I can bring some value and, through my experience and the things that I do, I hope somebody out there can actually get some value and learn something new, and something that can help them with their business as well, which is the most important thing, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. So, basically up to this point, on this show, we've talked about doing market research.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about, writing a business plan.
Yep.
We've talked about a little bit about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And we also did that first episode overview of kind of what the purpose of this show is. But I'm really excited to get started with you, Pedro, because it sounds like you've kind of gone through it, getting your marketing business up and running. So I hope you're ready for a good time, man. I think Nick and I both have a ton of questions.
We do.
And we can just go ahead and dive right into it.
Yeah, Pedro, our audience is entrepreneurs, and we kind of, Ryan and I talk about the fact, it's actually been a few weeks, Ryan, until we've actually recorded an episode. But we talk about the fact that, entrepreneurs always have something on their mind. They have an idea they want to get out there, whether it's a product, whether it's a digital piece or a concept, it doesn't matter, but they have an idea that they're dying to get out. And a lot of that takes courage. And especially right now with, what's going on in the world, it takes courage to do that in the middle of the pandemic, right? When we have a lot of uncertainty right now with still the election to be decided, the economy, COVID, we have some promise on the horizon, but still a lot of uncertainty. So if you would, I know we kind of skipped over this a little bit in the intro, but tell us a little bit more about how did you take that step? Because I think it's a really bold step, and I applaud you for this, to say, you know what, I'm going to leave Guatemala, where my family is, and move to the United States, because that to me is courage. And tell us more about that.
Yeah, man. I believe that decision that I made 7 years ago is what helped me understand that you are capable of doing whatever you want in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I'm from Guatemala, and 7 years ago, man, I was in a very dark place. Most people in the entrepreneur world, the story is the typical story about, you come from a bad family or a poor family, or you went to prison and all that kind of stuff. And that was not the case for me. I grew up in Guatemala, and I pretty much had a good family. My dad, he has his own company, and he's very successful. And I went to private school and all that kind of stuff. So I had everything I wanted in life, But I was a little one and the only man too. So, I was super spoiled. My parents spoiled me too much. And that pretty much became my kind of like a curse at some point in my life when I became an adult, because I was not responsible for my life. I was entitled. I was just not taking responsibility of building anything for myself, until I got to a point that I got tired of it. And I was like, I need to do something different. Before I moved to the States, I actually moved to Costa Rica. I lived there for a year. I tried to I went there and tried to finish college, which never happened. And I went back and spent like 8 months in Guatemala because, when I went to Costa Rica, I tasted that freedom of not being close to my family because, one of the things, man, that I believe entrepreneurs need to understand is that family is going to hold you back sometimes, and my family was holding me back, especially my parents. They were holding me back. They were not doing it for something bad, they just wanted to protect me. They wanted me make sure that I had a good life, a good future. They just wanted to do the best for me, but they didn't know that they were hurting me. So, and I was a grown-ass man to still depending on them, so I had that taste of freedom when I was in Costa Rica for a year. So I came back, and those 6-8 months I spent in Guatemala, my last 8 months in Guatemala, they were like very depressing. And I ruined, I was engaged, I ruined that, and everything went to hell, man. And I tried to start some businesses on my own, and it never happened. I never understood what never happened to me, So one day I was just like, screw this, I need to get the hell out of here, man. And like I told you, I packed all my stuff, and I decided to move to the US. In a one-way ticket, I was the only one who knew, and I think that's another lesson. Especially you, an entrepreneur, man. Sometimes you just have to go for it. You don't have to tell nobody, because nobody knew that I was moving here forever. Like my family, they thought that I was coming here for 21 days. Some friend invited me to spend some time with them in their house and in Virginia Beach. That's where everything started for me, in Virginia Beach. That's why they thought, nobody knew. Maybe 2 people knew that I was just moving without knowing when I was coming back to my home. So, and I think what's smart, I remember, I think it was one of my sisters. Well, I have 3 sisters. One of them was the only one who knew. And she's the one who told me, don't tell anybody and don't tell my parents, because if you tell them, they're gonna hold you back, and you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna leave. You're never gonna get into the freaking airplane. And so I didn't, man. And I think that's, now that I think about it, and we're talking about entrepreneurship and all that stuff, definitely, man, when you decide to start doing something, just go for it. Start asking for opinions, because most people don't understand what you're doing, especially in the entrepreneur world. Like if you go to talk to somebody, or in your family, if you come from a family that they never own a business, or they never aspire to be entrepreneurs, and then you come with your ideas, you're gonna get disappointed, and they're gonna talk you out of your dream and out of your goals, because they don't understand that. I think entrepreneurship is a way of life, man. It is something that not many dare to do. So for me, I think that was what started me in this journey, and I got to a point, like I was telling you before we started the show, man. It was April 15, 2015 that I had my passport, and literally was the last day of my visa. My visa and everything expired that day. And I had to make a choice. I had to decide to stay here or just buy a flight ticket and go back home. And as you can see, I'm here. I'm still here. But that was a really dark season too, man, because like a year after, I got involved in the wrong relationship. That relationship almost took me out. It was a very bad relationship. I was in Colorado. Thank God I met some people that helped me, and but I spent like 3 or 4 years basically in the shadows, man. Actually, it's funny because I think that was the year that Trump got elected. So everything that the media was telling me is like, oh, Trump is deporting everybody, So I was like, holy shit, I'm here legal now, and now he's going to put my ass back to Guatemala.
You were waiting for that knock on the front door, you mean? That's, yeah.
Yeah, man. It was scary because I was starting in all this entrepreneurship stuff, and I didn't have a strong mindset. I at that point, I hadn't developed my mindset in the things that I know now, So it was very scary times, man. Like driving slowly and not getting into troubles, or rather staying home and doing things like that, because you never knew, like bad headlight will pull you over, and that's it, end of story, So it was very scary, man. It was a very, very scary time, but I think that time built me. It built my character, So, and that's why, when I see people in 2020 now, it's like, oh man, we're in the middle of a pandemic and all this stuff, I'm gonna lose my business. It's like, no, you're not. Unless if you don't do something, yes, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose everything you have tried to build for years. But pandemic is not an excuse for you to go ahead and do something for your business. I mean, like I was telling you, we have a business, real estate business with my wife. But my wife, she's been a realtor for 2 years. I've been helping her with the lead generation and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't work as a real estate agent because you needed a license, and I was busy doing other stuff. And actually, I just got my license, so I could be able to work with her in the field, like be a realtor and all that stuff. And when I see people making excuses, man, like here in Texas, it is the longest. Texas have the longest hours for you get your license for real estate. It's 180 hours. I knocked those freaking 180 hours in 2.5 months, man.
Wow.
Most people take 6 months to do that, because it was an opportunity. Why am I going to lose the opportunity right now? My plan was to get my license in 2021, but it's like business is slow right now in the marketing side because the craft beer industry got hit really hard, right? So obviously business went slow for everybody. So it's like, I have an opportunity here, I have the time. So why am I not going to go ahead and get my license right now and like knock that stuff down in 2 months, and now we're working together and we're crushing it pretty much. So I believe, man, that those 7 years really taught me and prepared me to start being an entrepreneur. And I love this life. And I love this way of life. I love the idea of me deciding what to do with my time, with my money, and not having to explain myself to nobody. You know what I mean? But I think it's also a way of, like I said, a way of life, but also you have your responsibilities. And I think the craft beer industry, man, it is an industry that, don't get me wrong, I believe it's an amazing industry. That's why I started my company, the marketing brewing company. The beer inspired me to help this industry, but I think this industry is, in my opinion, is very young in all the self-development and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's important for the industry to start getting into this ASAP, man, because at the beginning of the pandemic, I remember there was a lot of people saying like, no, man, we are a hospitality business. We're never going to sell beer online and all that stuff. And now it's your only option, man, and it's possible. You can do it. And the people that we've been helping, we've been seeing those sales going up through all their social media and all that kind of stuff with online menus. I've been partnered with people for a season, right in the middle of the pandemic, like we were providing free online menus to our clients, and we were just getting a percentage out of their sales through the menu, So we did that to help because we knew, I feel like the craft beer industry right now is like in a season like a real estate industry was in 2008, 2009, like everybody was like, nah, you cannot generate leads on social media. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like social media is for me and my friends and my family. And now that's where everybody does business, man. And I think that's where the craft beer industry is right now, and trying to understand all this social media and how they can leverage that, how they can leverage lead generation, how they can leverage data, that data is the most important thing. I talk a lot about data and how it's important to collect that data. When I mean data, I mean the phone number, email, and name of all like just your subscribers list pretty much, So that's some of the things that I talk a lot and I teach my clients a lot because that's what's helped me build my businesses, like collecting data and generating leads and all that kind of stuff. Like why we are in a point right now with my wife that we don't know what to do with so many leads. So we need to start hiring people right now for a real estate business,
It's a great problem to have. Yeah.
Definitely. It is a great problem to have. That's true, So, but I think it's just take the dedication, man. Like 7 years ago, I wouldn't have this type of conversation, and there's a lot of stuff going on out right now, man, and a lot of different opinions and people trying to figure out how to keep their business open and lockdowns again and all that kind of crap, man. I don't think it's necessary to shut your business, but that's my opinion from all the things that is going on right now. But I think, man, it's just being responsible. It is about decide how important it is your business. How important is your life or whatever you're doing, like what risk are you willing to take, like I'm not going to tell somebody do what I did, because it was not easy to be almost 4 years illegal in a country where you don't know nobody, where you're by yourself pretty much. And when you find somebody to be with, they make you even feel more lonely, and I'm not going to tell people to do that. But if I was able to do that and learn through the process and embrace the process, the pain and the failure that I have experienced for the past 7 years, anybody else can do it, and that's something I believe also, besides the most important thing that I have learned in 2020, man, is to keep a clear mindset. Like that's the most important thing because everything starts here.
You no doubt have that. You have no doubt. I'm listening to you right now, and your mindset is like coming right through the camera right now. In terms of, you've got the courage it takes to be an entrepreneur. You've got the passion to be an entrepreneur. I just love I love what I'm hearing from you. Tell me a little bit about what drives you. Like, what's your drive? I mean, it's easy to have all those things, but what gets you up every single day and drives you?
Man, the fact that I can do whatever the heck I want. The fact that I can wake up and know that there's people that I can help, that it's just that desire to just go ahead, just get in a call with somebody and like, okay, how can we help you? Like we have cut commissions, we have not getting paid, sometimes for helping people. And I'm not saying to brag, because that's the kind I really don't talk much about those little things because I don't like people to know all those things that I do, but the reason why I'm sharing it is because that's what really makes me wake up every single day, and the idea that I can help somebody else, because when I was in that situation, man, a couple of years ago, nobody really helped me, it was hard to be lonely. It's hard to be in a place that you don't know what to do, that especially if you're a business owner, man. Like, I've been there too, I've been like, okay, we need to pay bills tomorrow. What in the hell are we gonna do? And to be honest, man, even in the middle of my when I started being an entrepreneur and all that stuff, and I was able to start a business and when I finally got my green card and all that kind of stuff a couple of years ago, man, it was not easy, like I found myself even delivering groceries at some point, at least to pay the bills, but I was building my business on the side, like working 6 hours a day, making $200-300 in 4 or 5 hours, make sure that I will cover the bills and then go back home and keep working and waking up next day at 5 a.m. in the morning and keep working until, well, now we're in a better position, but the problem is that people don't want to go through that stuff. People want shit easy. You have to understand that this life and even if you're not an entrepreneur in anything in life, you're going to have to struggle because that's where you learn. That's where you build yourself. That's what gives you the character that you need to build your business or to finish your career in college, whatever it is that you're doing. You have to go and embrace the pain. And I'm telling you this because I used to be the kind of person who walked away from that. I was like, I don't want to have problems in my life ever again. I try to do everything in my life to like avoid having problems and failures and to understand like, dude, I need failure in my life. Failure is part of the success formula, like you need that. And now when I see myself and I have to try something new or something's like, okay, let's do this. And I don't care if I fail, like, as a matter of fact, I'm looking to fail so I can learn something.
That's an amazing attitude right there, because that's something that I try to talk to my kids about. Now my son and I were driving down to our store the other day in Holly Springs. He had a day where he could just kind of do some work on his own. It's virtual schooling, whatever. So we took the opportunity to be together. And we talked about that. We're actually listening to a Joe Rogan podcast on the way down together. He's old enough now where I can actually put it on because of all the cuss words and everything that's there, right? So if he hears an F-bomb, he's old enough to kind of know that he can't say that in front of his little sister. But we talked about that. And we talked about the fact that your character is tested, right? Not when things are going well, but your character is tested when things are not going well. And that usually comes through adversity. And I know you and I have talked about this off camera a bunch of times, but I don't know what easy is, right? I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I guess I feel very fortunate because I was born in this country. I had 2 loving parents. So I mean, I think that was an easy part of my life, but the rest of it, I've had to grind it out. You know what I mean? School didn't come easy to me. Jobs, I was always the hardest worker. Those kind of things. So I love what you're saying there, Pedro, about that, because entrepreneurialism is not easy. You've said it a couple times. I've heard you say this, and it speaks to me right in here that it's lonely. And it is lonely. And it's in those lonely moments and when you're going to decide, do I go forward or do I just give up and go do something that's easier? Maybe it's not easy, but easier. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I like what Pedro was saying because I feel like, Pedro, all the way back before you left Guatemala up to now, it's been nothing but trial after trial after trial. And it's like, if if you had just gotten on the plane, came over here, succeeded out the gate, what's to say you wouldn't have gotten to a point where it's like, all right, well, I was looking for a challenge, but this wasn't really it, so I'm going to head home now, and maybe even give up because it's like, well, that was too easy. I'm looking for something a little more difficult. I think he's exactly right. Without that failure, you don't learn anything.
You don't.
And I've told my guys at work that as well. I've said, when you go in, you talk to a customer, you build a relationship, you close a sale, and you come out and you tell me that, I'm going to say, good job. That's what you're supposed to do. When you go in and you don't even get past the intro because you can't remember your own name, I'm going to celebrate that because that's where we learn. That's our biggest learning point, is that massive failure. And I say that, and a lot of people laugh. Even my guys laugh sometimes when I first tell them that. But I don't think I've worked with a single person that hasn't at least once gone in and pitched a customer and forgotten their name in the middle of it. And it's hilarious, but what's great about it is that is an excellent teaching point for me, and it's an excellent learning point for them. So just like Pedro said, I think that failure is 100% necessary.
Completely. Absolutely.
And I believe failure is also like an indicator, like if you're not failing, like, trust me, you're not growing.
No.
Like if whoever is listening to this right now, man, like, or in the future, like if you're not failing right now in your life, like you're not growing at all, man. Like, you should really, really embrace the fact that you're gonna fail in everything that you're gonna do, because you don't know anything, like you don't know everything in this life. I didn't know how to do. I went to college for marketing, but all this lead generation and all that kind of stuff, I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't know nothing about real estate and how to fail a couple of times before I learned it. And but people is afraid of that, especially right now in this year, man. Like, I think society has become so soft, and it drives me crazy, because, man, I will be in a different place right now in my life if I would have the opportunity from the day I moved here, the day I moved to the States to develop all the things that I wanted. But I couldn't, because I have limitations, because I couldn't have a business license. I couldn't have all that kind of stuff, because I could barely have a bank account, because you're illegal. That's what are you going to do? Like you don't have access to nothing.
Pedro, that's just amazing what you're saying there, because when I think about that, and I apologize for cutting you off there, but when I think about what you just said there, you probably had, I don't know if you had this conversation in your mind, but I could easily have seen you having a conversation with yourself, when it would have been easier to go back to Guatemala, right? Than stay here, be illegal, do those things, do the hard road, right? And what I like about that is that this is what Ryan and I, why we wanted to start this podcast, speaks to the heart of that, in terms of it's always harder to be an entrepreneur. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I left a really big job to start Trek CBD, right? I left a really big job, medical benefits, 401k, the whole deal, to start something that I believed in. And that would have been the easier thing to do for the next 20 years of my life. Continue to work in corporate America. It's easy to come out in a space where, you know what, at the end of the day, there is an incredible amount of uncertainty. But, what drives me every single day is to help others and also get up and say, I've done something, accomplishment. I'm creating something. So when you say that, man, I just really speaks to me, and I'm sure it speaks to a lot of people in our audience as well.
I cannot tell you how many times, especially during the years that I live in Colorado, because I got to a point that the people that I was working and the friends that I had, all of them moved. I have. For the people that I was working at that point, we almost got in, one of my bosses, almost got in a fight with him. And so pretty much decided to find someone who I was working with. I was doing all these sales in kiosks in the mall and all that kind of stuff, working with a bunch of Israeli people and all that stuff. It was a good job, because it was high ticket sales, selling like $5,000-$10,000 worth of cosmetics and stuff like that. So, but when I decided to stay in Colorado, I really got into a season where almost every single weekend, man, I found myself alone, like drinking beer by myself, in my apartment. And like I just wanted to go back, I was like, screw this, man. Like, why in the hell I'm doing it here by myself, suffering? I don't have family. I don't have friends. Like, something can happen to me. Nobody's going to fucking come and rescue me, like if I die right now in my apartment, like, like probably somebody will find out in like a month when everything starts smelling bad, because I really didn't have nobody, So it was really lonely moments, man. But now that I look back, I'm grateful, because now I appreciate everything that I have, and I appreciate because I know that every time there's a new level, man, there's gonna be a new devil, and then I'm gonna have to deal with some hardship and troubles or whatever life throws at me, And every time I see that coming, I'm grateful, because I know that means that I'm ready to go to the next level. That means that after that, something greater is gonna come. And that's what people don't understand, and I don't get it. Because again, I was sometimes like, dude, I wish I can be legal so I can do something. And then I see all these people having the opportunities, having all access to everything. Especially in America. Like everybody, like people don't understand the opportunities you have here in this country, man. But what we have instead, people bitching about everything, like you don't understand this. Like entrepreneurship doesn't exist in other countries, you don't have yeah, you can start a business. Like I said, my dad, he has his own company and stuff, but it's something that people don't really talk about, like being an entrepreneur. Like other people, he's like, what the hell is that? You have this opportunity here. And even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, man, whatever you want to do in life, like you have the opportunities to do it. And it's funny what you say, because I don't know if you know who's at my led, but he have a doctor, a neuroscience doctor. His name is Dr. Andrew Huberman. And he was talking about how our brains produce more dopamine when we actually pursuing something compared to when you achieve your goals, So imagine that stuff. Like you're more happy when you're pursuing something and you're going through the struggle when you're actually not doing anything for yourself. How crazy is that?
I think it's absolutely spot on. I think we're in, by nature, we're hunters, right? We like to hunt. And the satisfaction is in that, knowing that, for whatever, using that metaphor, that whatever you're pursuing is much more fulfilling than when you actually get to the goal, because when you get there, it's just, what am I going to do next? Right? You got to find that next challenge for yourself. So I'm curious, or, because I'm listening to you and you got the drive, you got the mindset. Are you one of those that sets goals? Was any of this planned out for you? Sketched out in terms of what you wanted to accomplish in the 7 years?
Well, when I first moved here, man, I didn't really have any goals because I didn't know nothing about that. Let's say I was like kind of like average thinking, But for the past 3 years, almost 3 years, I started developing goals, and that's something that not only set up my goals, but then break them down into simple things that you can accomplish every single day. Because that's a problem with when people try to make goals for their lives. Like I want to be a millionaire, right? But when you think about a million, it's like kind of hard to make $1 million, right? Like, but when you break it down and you realize that it's only $3,000 a day, pretty much, that sounds more easy, right? So what do you need to sell to make $3,000 a day in a year to make $1 million for yourself, right? So now I do. I do have goals, and we break them down with my wife and all that stuff, and what the things that we want to accomplish, and I have it in written, man. And one of the things that I do, I know you guys talk about a lot of establishing a business and all that stuff. I already talk about that, but man, one of the things that have really helped me a lot in my businesses is to define my core values, not only for my businesses, but for my life. It is so important, man. It is such a game changer. And I have a friend of mine. He has a book that is called what is it called? I will send that. I have an extra copy, man. Remind me to send you that to you. It's called Unfuck Your Business. And he talks about how he setting your core values for your business and pretty much create every single system and process from your core values pretty much change the entire game in your business. So yeah, now I really have like very specific goals, man. Like, and everything is written down. It's like 8 pages, 10 pages that I have right down of goals and stuff. And every single thing is break it down and what I need to do to get there. And I focus in 4 areas. You know, I have goals for my business. I have goals for my mindset, my faith, my family, and my health, you know.
That's phenomenal, man. So I think I'm definitely curious because I also want to get to. I know you mentioned Pedro looking into hiring some people to help you out. So I definitely want to get into that. But because of you going through the shit, so to speak, to get to where you are now, like moving from one country to another is in and of itself its own challenge, but then going through the trials and tribulations you had to go through once you got to the United States to get to where you are, for someone that is on any one of those steps along a similar path that you were on to get to where you are, what type of what insight would you give to them? What advice would you give to that person?
First of all, man, I will say to find someone who's doing exactly what you want to do, and right now with social media, man, there's so many groups available where people can actually help you. One of the things that I did when I moved from Colorado to Reno, in Reno, I started attending church, and I started going to a group of men, and that helped me a lot. I'm not trying to talk religion here and anything, but being surrounded by a group of people, man, and especially a group of men, really helped me a lot. So somebody who is in that stage right now, man, like find people around you, but don't find people that is doing less. Don't find somebody who's gonna tell you, oh yeah, let's go grab some beers and stuff and get wasted during the weekend or do stupid things. Like find somebody who's doing something productive with their lives, because you're the average of the people you surround yourself with, So I think when I moved to Reno too, the guy that I work with, then we became partners, and it was the same business, like kiosk business in the mall, and same products, and we became partners. Being around him helped me a lot because his family owns a bunch of businesses in Reno, and he's also an entrepreneur, but being surrounded with him, around him and his group of friends also helped me a lot because I started learning more about the things that I wanted to do and accomplish. And our conversations were about the things that I wanted to do. It was not useless conversations. It was productive conversations about business, about how you can get better in this, how you can get better in that. And it's always something to help you grow. So I think that's important. And just invest in yourself, man, in your mindset. I believe that will be the second thing that I would recommend people in that position. Like, start investing in this because this is what makes the difference in your life. I couldn't accomplish anything until I started changing my mind, and everything started with practicing gratitude and having a habit every single day. Like I know Ryan, I know you follow Ryan Stewman, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I'm part of his mentorship program, and one of the things that we do. It's called the G Code. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And that is something, for example, that have changed my life, because every single day in the morning, first thing when I wake up, I write down the 5 things I'm grateful for. And then I work out twice. I'm working twice a day now. I'm doing CrossFit in the mornings and then with my wife. And then at night, I'm doing Krav Maga. So I'm pretty much like in peace now because I can have a super stressful day and then I go get my ass kicked at Krav Maga and then I come back almost like an angel.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it is great, because I'm getting in shape and I have energy and I take care of like the things that I put to my body, and I even that I love beer, man. Like I have to control myself just for the weekends, man. Live for the weekend. That's your reward. But yeah, man, that's important, I believe, and take care of the people around you.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think something that you wanted to talk about next, Nick, was building a culture. So
yeah, for sure. We're already on it right now.
So I think the next episode we're gonna talk a little bit about that.
I want to build off that because Pedro, you kind of got something that was a perfect segue around that was values.
Yeah.
So let's take that into the next episode. Let's talk about how values are the absolute foundation of every culture.
Totally.
So, I mean, if you're looking for a reason to watch the next one, you know what? That's what it is. When you're talking about culture, we're going to talk a couple things about culture. We're going to talk about what good culture looks like. I think we can all probably share what good culture doesn't look like in that aspect.
Definitely.
And then how to build a really strong culture, because it really is the bedrock of any organization.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Pedro, before we move on to the next episode, man, what's the best way for people to find you?
They can go to it's called Pedro. Hold on. I just created a business card. You have everything there, man. But I forgot the link. It is it is pedromeneses.online. That's it. pedromeneses.online.
Okay.
And that's my business card. You can have everything. You have a link there for my podcast too, for the marketing brewing company, for the real estate. Everything is there. Or you can just follow me on social media, man. Pedro Meneses in all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. That's the only three that I use. So
nice.
I'll Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put that link in the description of all these, so people can just click on it. But I really appreciate you being here, man. Rolling into the next episode with us, talking about culture. But thanks so much for carving time out of your day to sit and chat with us and drink a beer.
Man, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really enjoying this time with you guys, and I'm drinking beer. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen. So next episode, we're talking about culture. If you haven't yet, be sure to go back and listen to or watch the first 5 episodes. Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure to like and subscribe. That's how we get more attention to know what is working. So if you're finding any value in this whatsoever, also, of course, be sure to check out trekcbd.com, because that's where Nick does all his wizardry with helping people with health and wellness. So and then of course more episodes on businessandbrewshow.com, and all these links that I keep talking about, and including Pedro's, are going to be in the description. So join us on the next episode.
Sounds good. Be well, everyone.
How to build a business during a pandemic. This show is brought to you by Trek CBD. You can check them out at trekcbd.com. Written and produced by the Business and Brew Show. Find more episodes at businessandbrewshow.com. Hosted by Nick Pione and Ryan Smelt. Guest host Gavin